This video features a question that came all the way from Europe regarding high conflict divorce and custody. I always appreciate viewer questions. But again, this one comes all the way from Europe. And so thanks for reaching out. I'm going to keep this person anonymous. Should be clear why. But after going through some of the information that this person provided me, just proved that the family court system is unfortunately a complete disaster, regardless of where you live. I mean, at least in Europe. So some of the things, some of the dynamics that he's describing, it sounds as though that it's not just here in America and including Canada. The family court system is a disaster everywhere. So if you're a viewer and you want to ask me a question, best way to get a hold of me is to, if you can find my email. I'm not going to broadcast it out there. Honestly, I get way too much junk email. That's my fault. But best way to contact me is through my website, saltcitycounseling.com, if you have a viewer question, or you can put a comment on a video. Not guaranteed to see it, though. I don't check those very often. But anyways, so let's get to this question. It's very, very simple and very straightforward question, but I think the answer is pretty loaded. He says simply, I was wondering if you have seen how extremely high conflict custody cases turn out when the mom is very obviously NPD or BPD. NPD being narcissistic personality disorder, BPD being borderline personality disorder. So that's the question. Have I seen how these cases usually go? Yes, I have many and many, many, many instances. Now, keep in mind that I'm speaking from experience here in the US. I'm not speaking from any experience having to do with Europe or the European court system. Okay. And so this may or may not apply exactly in Europe at this specific country. But if I was a betting man, I would say it's very similar over there. Okay. So, yes, I have seen a lot of how these cases go. I wish I had good news. But there's going to be a caveat to this. Okay. Here in the United States, most of these cases, yes, I've seen how they go. They're usually a complete disaster. They're usually prolonged for a very, very, very long time. Here in the States, at least, frankly, it's my opinion, my perception that the courts have no interest virtually in bringing cases to any closure, right? It's a moneymaker. I hate to say it. That's just the truth. I've never seen a court that was in any kind of hurry to get it wrapped up in a very quickly or efficient way. And so here in the US, usually these cases extend for years and years and years and years. I've encountered some cases that have gone past 8 years, even 10 years. I knew a guy, sort of a friend. He was a guy that was a social group that I was in. Nice guy. His case had been going on for over a decade. He actually had a very successful 3D printing business, and but he was broke because he had spent so much money on court and legal fees. So, quick disclaimer: this is not legal advice to anybody out there. Okay, in my experience, if you just go along with the program and you just follow along and buy in the way that you're supposed to, and you just do as your lawyer advises, and you just sort of go along with what the court advises, it just keeps going on and on and on and on. And unfortunately, like, to me, if you want a better outcome than what most people get, you're going to have to do something different. And I think the trouble that a lot of guys make, including my friend here that sent me this email, I think one of the biggest mistakes that they make, at least here in the US, is they assume that the court cares about logic, reason, and evidence. They don't. Okay, what's happening in family court, actually, it's a war of perception. It's a war of emotion. It's a war who can control the narrative. If you can manage to have the upper hand in the narrative, you're more likely to get a better outcome. The trouble is that a lot of guys go into family court with this mindset that if I present evidence, I made this mistake in the past too. I advised guys to gather their evidence and present the evidence, and the judge just glances at it and just sort of tosses it aside and then goes with whatever the emotional current is of the case. Again, in my experience, okay, family court is not uh, a contest of who can present the most accurate evidence. Yeah, that would be nice. It would be nice if they did that. They don't. At least not in my neck of the woods. Okay, it's purely a game of manipulation. It's mental games, emotional manipulation. So if you only go, because to me, there's two sides of things, right? There's like the tangible, concrete side of things. This happened at this time, and bro, here's the concrete evidence. And I wish I could tell you that court loves that stuff. And they base their decisions off that stuff. They don't. So the other side of things is like who can control the narrative, who can control the perception, who can sway everything on an emotional level, right? And we would hope that court, family court, wouldn't operate that way. I hate to say it, it absolutely does. But as long as you're playing by the rules of the logical and tangible concrete side of things, unfortunately I've found typically it's not going to turn out well for this person. Okay. Unfortunately, I hate to say it, but to some degree, you have to start doing this. You have to start playing this game. You have to understand the rules of how it works over here, and it's a circus. It's crazy. It's madness. Now, I have had some people, some clients who are managing to gain a little bit more leverage through court because they got a little better at navigating the emotional, perceptual, relational side of things. Again, it's crazy, it's frustrating. I hate to say it, but in my experience, when it comes to family court, the craziest, most chaotic person usually wins. Now, if you're court involved or you've been court involved, right? Maybe take a minute and reflect, right? Did you present evidence? Did you present concrete, tangible evidence? Are you coming from a place of logic and reason and tangible evidence? And how did that go? Right? Now, I'm betting that the vast, vast, vast majority of you would tell me it's a disaster. It's crazy. It's a complete disaster. The people that I have seen who have managed to fare a bit better in family court have stopped playing by this set of rules, like the rules of normal sane people. I'm just going to call them, right? And learning, understanding the rules of crazy people, because family court is full of lunatics and clowns. And sometimes I'm being derogatory towards family court deliberately, but I don't know how else to describe the complete circus that's happening over there. Okay. And so, but the people that I've seen who are doing reasonably better in family court, they stop going along with, oh, well, my lawyer said to collect the evidence and to put it in a 3 ring binder and put it in front of the, and oh, well, she broke the decree. And here's the evidence for it. I have the police report and everything. And then the judge goes, yeah, we're going to take custody away from you. And you're sitting there going, what just happened? I just presented the evidence. What is going on? Again, it's like, unfortunately, the truth is, at least here in the States, the people that have done better in family court and gotten better outcomes learn to play, they've learned to play the crazy game better. They think outside of the box. I'm not going to provide legal advice. I'm not going to provide direction. Do this, not that, necessarily. I mean, I have given some clients some advice. Try this, not that. And I've had clients who are like, no, you know what? Usually it's fear based too. They're anxious. They're like, well, I'm afraid if I do that, then this bad thing is going to happen. So thanks for the advice. I'm going to do my thing anyways. And then they get a bad outcome. And I'm like, it's your prerogative. You're the one that has to live with this, not me, right? But but all I'm saying is, if you play the game, it's a game. It is. And it's a game with crazy rules ran by crazy people. You have to understand that. And so you got to be willing to kind of break some of the rules, frankly. That's been my experience with family court. But I used to make a lot of high conflict divorce and custody content. I've kind of moved away from it. I think I've been a little bit blackballed locally in the family court system. Like I get stonewalled. Um, Absolutely stonewalled. Anytime that I try to take a contract of any kind, I get totally, totally stonewalled and shut down and discarded and thrown away. Right. Um, I, I, I don't play their game the way they want it played, and I'm quite certain that it's gotten me blackballed to a certain degree, which I honestly take as a compliment. But I'm also kind of moving away from the high conflict stuff. It is so disheartening. It's so discouraging. I just hear so many awful stories of so many awful parents weaponizing kids and parental alienation, all that stuff. It's brutal. It's hard enough to listen to it. But anyways, thanks for the question. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I don't make videos as much as I used to. I've been busy, man. I've been busy doing a whole bunch of other stuff. But thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time.